So you're building a product, right? Something with a unique look, a specific feel. Maybe it's a physical device or even a slick digital interface. You know that design is your secret weapon, your biggest edge. But in a global market, how do you actually protect that vision? Especially in the big leagues, the manufacturing and innovation hubs like China, Japan, and Korea. Well, that's exactly what we're going to break down today. Let's dive in.
This quote really gets to the heart of it, doesn't it? Your product's design, its visual identity, that's not just window dressing. It's a serious asset. It builds trust, creates brand loyalty, it's what people remember. But here's the thing, that asset is incredibly vulnerable, and protecting it means you need a specific strategy for where you do business.
And that's our focus. We're going to dig into how you can lock down your design patents in Asia's 3 most important markets. Now, the key thing to get is that each of these countries has its own personality, its own rulebook. You can't just copy-paste your US or European application and hope for the best. It just doesn't work. You absolutely have to understand the local game.
Okay, before we jump into the country specifics, let me just hammer home the single most important rule across all 3 places. Your drawings are everything. I mean, literally everything. They are the entire basis for whether you get approved or rejected. If your drawings can't tell the whole story, crystal clear, without a single word of explanation, you're starting on the back foot.
First up, let's talk about China. The best way to think about the Chinese patent system is as the sprinter. It is built for blinding speed. And that's fantastic if you're prepared, but it is totally unforgiving if you're not. In a market where knockoffs can pop up overnight, your filing has to be perfect, and I mean perfect from day one.
So what does that actually mean for you? It means the Chinese examiner has to understand your design in a split second, just by glancing at the drawings. There is zero room for ambiguity. You don't get to write a long paragraph explaining what you meant. If your drawings are cluttered or inconsistent, you're going to get a rejection fast. And trying to make corrections after you filed? Good luck. Your options are incredibly limited.
Let's look at a super specific example, shading. You know, in the West, we often use it to make drawings look polished, more professional. In China, that is a dangerous move. See, any shading that looks just decorative, instead of clearly defining the 3D shape, can be seen as part of the design you're claiming. This creates what are called accidental claims. You end up protecting a texture you don't care about, which actually makes it easier for a competitor to copy your core shape, change the texture, and get away with it. So how do you get out in front of this? Here's a really smart tactic. You have to become the examiner. Right before you file, pretend you have never seen your product in your life. Just look at the drawings. Do the lines from the front view match up perfectly with the side view? Are the boundaries of what you're claiming razor sharp? If you find yourself hesitating for even a second to figure it out, your filing is not ready for China. Simple as that. All right, so to wrap up China, number 1, your filing has to be as close to perfect as possible right from the get-go. Number 2, if you're only protecting part of a design, your boundary lines have to be pristine. And this is a big one. You have to freeze your design before you file. You can't have your product team tweaking the look after you've submitted because you could end up launching a product that isn't actually protected.
Okay, so from the sprinter, we now move to the master craftsman, Japan. Where China is all about speed and clarity, Japan is about precision and harmony. Think of the Japanese examiner as someone with both an artist's and an engineer's eye for meticulous detail.
The mindset in Japan is all about absolute consistency. They believe a design has to be a single, unified whole. They'll zoom in and notice if the weight of a line shifts just a tiny bit between views, or if a curve on one side isn't a perfect mirror of the other. To them, these tiny inconsistencies aren't just mistakes. They're evidence that the design itself isn't truly finalized. And that can get you a rejection. So what's the secret here? It's actually pretty simple. The only reliable way to achieve the kind of harmony Japan expects is to generate every single drawing from one final locked 3D model. You never ever create views separately or, and this is a big one, edit them by hand. That's just asking for tiny errors to creep in. A single source of truth is your best friend for Japanese filing. Okay, your key takeaways for Japan. First, you should absolutely look into their unique system for linking related designs. It's a powerful way to protect a whole family of product variations. Second, you need to practice visual honesty. Don't try to hide real-world things like seams or USB ports to make it look cleaner. Overly perfect drawings can be a red flag. And here's a pro tip. If you can get your filing right for Japan, you've pretty much created a gold standard template you can use for your entire global strategy.
All right, on to our third market, Korea. Let's call Korea the agile strategist. Now, like China, the Korean system is fast and super efficient. But, and this is a big but, it also offers this incredible level of flexibility that is just a godsend for startups and innovators who are still tweaking their products.
This question gets to a classic startup dilemma, right? You've totally nailed the one signature element of your product. Maybe it's a really unique button layout or a distinctive shape for the camera housing, but the rest of the body might still change. So how do you protect that core idea now without getting locked into an overall design that's not even finished yet?
Well, Korea's answer is its fantastic support for something called partial design filings. Honestly, this strategy is a founder's best friend. It lets you draw a very clear line around just the most innovative part of your design and claim protection for that specific part and nothing else. This locks down your competitive edge while giving your engineers the freedom to keep refining the rest of the product. It's a game changer.
So for Korea, the strategy is pretty clear. You want to leverage that partial design system to protect your key features and do it early. Just like in China, clarity is king. You want clean lines, no visual noise. And remember, Korea's product cycles are insanely fast, so you can't afford to wait. It's also worth noting that their system is especially friendly to digital designs, like software UIs and icons.
So, we've met the sprinter, the master craftsman, and the agile strategist. Now, let's pull all of this together into one simple cheat sheet that you can use to guide your own global design strategy.
And here it is, the core takeaway. For China, your mantra is speed and visual clarity, so you have to simulate that examiner's first glance. For Japan, it's precision and harmony, which means using a single 3D model as your absolute source of truth. And for Korea, it's all about clarity and flexibility, so you should absolutely leverage partial designs to protect your innovations as they happen. If you can just remember these three personalities, you'll be way ahead of the game.
And that leaves us with one final and really crucial question to ask yourself. As you're getting ready to protect your product, just pull up your drawings and try to forget everything you know about it. Does the visual evidence all by itself tell a clear, complete, and compelling story? Because in these critical markets, your pictures don't just help tell the story, they are the story.